Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be recreating this card that design team member Torico created using products from our new October 2017 release. So we're going to be combining the new Happy Holidays stamp set and coordinating dies along with this older product, which is Happy Wonderful Christmas, to create a really cute scene on our card, and we're going to use this die to create the sentiment. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to get our puppy all colored and cut out and ready to go onto the card front. So I've just stamped him onto some smooth white cardstock, and I'm using some Copic markers here to add color to the image. Now I decided to make my dog kind of a light tan color, so I used some really light tans in the main body of him, and then I just added some darker and medium tones around the outside of him and any areas that would be kind of shadowed. And then I'm just going back and forth between the various colors to really blend that color out. For his Santa hat and his scarf, I'm using 3 shades of red, and I'm just going in with my lightest color first and fully coloring in each of the images to really saturate that paper. And then I'm taking my darkest and my medium colors and I'm just kind of blending the color out once again from the areas that I want to look shadowed. And then for the white portions, I like to use a little bit of cool grays just to kind of give a little bit of shadow. This just kind of helps that white area look a little bit less flat and just gives our image a little bit more dimension. And then to finish him off, I'm just going to use a W7, which is a warm gray marker, and I'm going to add color to the bottom of his foot and his nose. And I'm also going to add a little bit of pink detail to his cheeks with an R20. And then once we finish with the coloring, we can go ahead and die cut him. So I am going to use the coordinating die and run him through my die cutting machine. Now once we have the dog image done, he's already colored, he's cut, he's ready to go. I'm going to work on the actual panel that we're going to adhere him to. So I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 5.5 by 3.5, and I'm going to kind of create a little area here where we have some hanging ornaments. So I'm just kind of putting the dog image where I think I'm going to end up putting him on the finished card, and then I'm going to take the little ornament images and I'm going to stamp them onto my white panel. I'm stamping these once again with black licorice hybrid ink just to make sure that I don't have any issues using my Copic markers to color these in, and I'm just kind of spacing them out around the dog image. To color in the ornaments, I'm going to use the same reds that I used for the hat and scarf for the center one, and then I'm going to use 3 shades of green to do the 2 on the outside edges. And I like to once again start with my lightest and then bring in that darkest color at the bottom there and just kind of pull that up towards the top to add that shading. To complete the ornaments, I'm using my T-square ruler and a black pen, and I'm just adding some line detail to make them look like they're actually hanging. And then I'm going to put everything together onto my card base. So I have a 4¼ by 5.5 inch card base, and I'm just adding a strip of pattern paper to the bottom there. This is from the Itsy Bitsy Polka Dots pattern paper pad, and I'm just going to trim off the excess from the sides. I'm going to take that panel that we've stamped the ornaments on, and I'm going to adhere this to the top area of the card so that we have the pattern paper kind of showing at the bottom. And this is why we have this cut shorter than 4¼ inches when we started. And then to finish that off, I'm taking that silver sparkle cardstock and I'm just going to adhere the strip of this right in between that stamped panel and the pattern paper. And that's just going to kind of give us a completed look and really add a little bit of detail to that bottom area of the card. So now that we have the images stamped and colored and we have assembled the card base, now comes the fun part of creating this fun, colorful sentiment that Torico added to her card. So I've taken that Happy Wonderful Christmas and I've ran it through my die cutting machine a bunch of times. And I'm going to speed this up because it does take a little bit of time to kind of put all this together. But what I'm doing is I'm taking the different colored letters and I'm picking out all the letters that I need to spell out Happy Holidays. So I've die cut these from Elf Green, Limelight, and Wild Cherry cardstock. And I'm just kind of mixing and matching and picking out the colors in the same order that Torico had done on her card. And then I also have a bunch cut from Craft that we're going to use to do some dimensional layering. Now when I do any type of letters like this where they're on their own and I want to add them in a nice straight line to go onto my card, I like to take a piece of sticky tape and put it upside down on my desk so that center area is actually the sticky portion. And then I use some additional tape to kind of tape down each end to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to use my tweezers to pick out all of the individual letters that I'm going to need to create my word, and I'm going to add these to this tape. So I'm adding them upside down and I am adding all of the craft ones here first since this is going to be the base layer of my sentiment. And I like to position them all so they line up down along the bottom edge of the tape. And this just helps me to make sure that I line this up straight on my card front when I actually adhere it down. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my little dog image because I want him to be underneath of the letters. And I'm going to add a little bit of Copic coloring just to give him some shadow. And then I'm going to take that tape that has the holidays word on it, and I'm going to add liquid glue to the entire background of all of those letter pieces. Using the liquid glue just really ensures that I get the entire letter covered with the glue and don't get it kind of all over the place. And then once I have them all covered, I can see through my tape so I can see where those letters are. And I'm just going to position this so that it's straight across on my card and the end of the word is going to kind of overlap on the puppy image. To make sure that I have the letters fully adhered down, I just like to press really firmly on them, and then I like to let it sit for a couple of minutes just to make sure that that glue has started to set. And then you just need to very carefully pull off that tape and you're left with this great sentiment, and it's lined up exactly where we need it to be, and now we can go ahead and add the top part. And by doing it this way, we just save a lot of time and aggravation because everything is already lined up for us and we don't have to do all of the letters individually on the actual card front. So for the word happy, I'm doing the exact same thing. I just added it to my tape. I put my liquid glue onto the back of all of the letters, and now I'm just adhering this right over the holidays word. I'm going to press down, wait a couple of minutes, and then very carefully pull that tape back to reveal my entire sentiment, which says Happy Holidays. So at this point, it's completely up to you how dimensional you want your sentiment to be. You can leave it with just this one layer and then add the color, or you can do a bunch of layers to really make these stand out on the card. I decided for this video to do 2 layers of the craft before I added the color, so I'm going to quickly go through now and add the second layer of the letters. And to do the second layer, I just like to take my liquid glue and add it directly onto the letter that's already on the card. And then I can just line up the top letter right over top with my tweezers and adhere that down. So once I had 2 layers of the craft, I'm just going in now with all of the colored letters that we had die cut, and I'm going to add all of these to the top. And this is going to give me my finished sentiment that's going to say Happy Holidays, and it's going to perfectly match our ornaments and our puppy image since we use greens and reds on those as well. And then once we have the little S there on the end there, that S is going to stand out a little bit better than it was as a craft letter. So now you can see I have this really great dimension under this sentiment. I have a cute puppy image with the ornaments, and it's just a really cute and adorable holiday card. So thank you so much to Torico for designing this card so we could recreate it in today's class. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.